Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Carrie. And yes, I've got a ridiculous towel on my head, but at least I put on clothes and not my stupid bathrobe. You guys know how I am when I get a wild hair up my ass about filming. I just have to do it like in the moment. So that is what I'm doing. But anyway, in case any of you were wondering about my absence from ye old world of YouTube, there is a really good reason why I've not been on, and that is because I was sick from Wednesday of last week until, I'm still currently dealing with raspiness and like congestion in my throat and coughing, but I'm no longer in the contagious mode or anything. Thank goodness. I've been on antibiotics for 4 days. And I just wanted to share a little bit about what this whole rigmarole has been about, because it's been really kind of stressful and anxiety producing. But let's just lay the groundwork. As you guys may know, if you watched my video, the weekend prior to last, Brian and I attended the PA HorrorCon in Allentown, and we had a blast. We had so much fun. I want to mention, because this is very important to know, it was a masked event. You had to be in masks, with the exception of when you were taking photos with the celebrities. They had the option to say it's okay to take your mask off, and I'll take mine off for photos. But the rest of the time, it was a mask required event. But somehow I still managed to get sick. I was fine during the whole convention, which is wonderful. We got there Friday, the day before the event actually started, and we left Monday morning, which was the day after. And I didn't feel sick until Wednesday, but I woke up on Wednesday morning, so that's 9 days ago, with the most hellacious sore throat. That's really where it all began, was with the throat. And then it quickly developed into a cough. And it was really just the sore throat and the cough for a couple of days. But immediately my first thought was, OMG, I'm getting a fucking COVID test. I just don't want to take any chances. I had my flu vaccination last fall. My flu shot, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's a vaccination. Okay, whatever. And I have been fully vaccinated with the two, vaccines for COVID since the 2nd of May. That was my last shot. So I, didn't have any real reason to think it was COVID, but of course, in this day and age, you can't be too careful, right? I made it a year and a half into a pandemic without having a COVID test, so I thought, fuck, I better be on the safe side. And, especially because I live with my husband and my mom, who's in her 70s, and I didn't want to take a chance on anybody else getting sick. So actually, to be on the completely safe side, Brian decided he would get a COVID test too, even though he was completely asymptomatic. He felt perfectly fine. So the drama began. Wednesday evening, we went to two of those walk-up clinics, and they were both supposed to be open till like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and we got there prior to 6 with the first one. We went to Walgreens second, where they said you need an appointment for a COVID test, and then the first place said, oh, we're not taking any more clients today. We're done. And I'm like, but you're open till 9. They're like, we have too many people already on the waiting list, and we're not seeing any more patients today. So I'm like, okay, great. So we went to a second clinic, and it was the same company, CityMD, for reference. I don't know if that's like a national thing or just a New York thing or a tri-state area thing. But we went to the second, CityMD, and basically they were like, oh no, we aren't seeing any more people either. Like, you have to make an appointment, and the earliest we have is tomorrow at like 4, unless you want to come before we open and wait outside. So I was like, well, I guess if we're going to do that, we'll do that at the one closer to our house. So that is exactly what we did. They opened at 9 on Thursday, and we got in line, and we were probably 10th or 12th in line at 8:30. And the way it works at this place, I don't know if that's just for, no, I guess that's not just for COVID testing. It's for any reason you need to be seen. You gave your cell phone number and got on a waiting list, and they basically sent you a text message when it was close to your appointment, and then you could just come inside. So you could, you had a half hour of leeway. So basically, once they sent you the text, within 30 minutes you had to return to the clinic or you lost your space in line. So basically, I mean, it was a nice way to accommodate people so there wouldn't be a backlog of people sitting in the waiting room all clustered together. You could wait in your car, or if you lived close enough, you could go home. I mean, we were 5 minutes from the clinic, but we just waited in the car, and it literally only took like 5 or 10 minutes before they told us we could come in. So we went in. And again, this is my first COVID test, my husband's first COVID test. I ended up giving them my food stamp card instead of my insurance card. So they took my husband in, and they basically, then they called me up a minute later and like, oh, we don't take your insurance. I'm like, what? Like, I'm on my husband's Medicaid. How do you take his and not mine? They're like, oh, we don't take straight up Medicaid. I happen to have Emblem Health Medicaid. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that's because I gave you the wrong card. That's my bad, sorry. So I gave them the correct card, and then they saw me shortly thereafter. So they take me into a room, and this guy brings me in, and he has the bedside manner of a slug. And basically, I guess his job is literally just to bring people in and out of a room, because he seemed to have no medical skills or personality whatsoever. Because I said, you know, this is my first COVID test. I'm really nervous. It's not that bad, right? And he was just like, okay, so wait here, and someone will be with you in a minute, and left. And I was like, awesome, thanks. I feel like really warm and fuzzy and terrific now. And then after about 5 minutes, a female came in, and I don't remember if she identified what her role was at the clinic, but she took some, you know, asked some basic questions, you know, had I done traveling? Why did I feel the need for the test? Did I have any symptoms? Yada, yada, yada. I said yes, you know, sore throat and cough, no fever, no body aches, none of, you know, no loss of taste or smell. You know, she asked about all the typical, you know, COVID symptoms. I said, you know, other than a cough and a sore throat, I have nothing, but I just want to be on the safe side, because I was at a convention where there was a large conglomeration of people, and even though it was a masked event, you know, you can't be too careful. So she said, okay, well, do you want the quick test, like the rapid test, or I forget what the other name is. It has abbreviations, I think, or like initials, but that's the one that you get the results back in 24 hours. And I'm like, well, if you're asking, I mean, I'll take the one that you get the results back, you know, the quickest. And she told me, and I quote, that the rapid test was 91% accurate, and that the 24-hour result test was, I believe, 96% accurate. So I'm like, 5% difference. I'm pretty sure I don't have this thing anyway. I would rather find out in a few minutes. So I'm like, dude, do the rapid test, you know? So she's like, okay, well, in a couple minutes, a nurse practitioner will be in to, you know, to give you your test. And that chick like checked my pulse and whatever. And then I waited like 10 minutes, and the other chick came in, and she gave me the rapid test and yada, yada, yada. And then, no, I'm lying. No, the girl that actually, the second person that came in gave me the rapid test. And she said, well, you have to wait for the nurse practitioner to see before you can leave. And I'm like, but I'm not getting a further exam. And she's like, it's just protocol or whatever. My husband, basically, when he was in there, he was like, no, I'm leaving. I'm done. I got my test. I'm peace out. I'm leaving. And I just don't have that kind of confidence. So I sat there like an idiot and waited 10 minutes. And literally the nurse practitioner came in, and she said, well, we got your results back. They're negative. I'm just gonna like listen to your heart. And that's all she did. And she's like, okay, you're good to go. So I'm like, woohoo, COVID free, awesome. So I made plans with a friend that I was going to spend the night with her in her apartment on Monday. And I'm thinking to myself, well, fuck, you know, I got to make sure I'm healthy, because there's no way in hell I'm going to go if there's any chance I'm, you know, feeling even the remotest bit crappy or could potentially be contagious. You know, I would never risk that. So, the night before I was supposed to see my friend, Sunday night, I was up and had 2 hellacious coughing fits. And I'm like, fuck, you know, because I was starting to feel really a lot better. And I'm like, nope, it's not going to work. I can't do it. So I texted my friend at like 4 in the morning. I'm like, I am like literally ready to cry right now, but I'm not going to be able to come. I'm so sad. But I still feel, you know, like my cough is really bad. My sore throat by then was completely gone, but everything started moving down into my throat and my chest, and I started getting really congested. So I was like, ugh, new symptom, great. So I made an appointment for that day. Luckily, I got on my patient portal for my regular general practitioner, and by some miracle of fate, he had an appointment for Monday. which is crazy because other than that Monday at 2 o'clock appointment, he wasn't available, I don't think, until October. So, I mean, it was really a stroke of luck. So my friend, of course, was like, you know, thank you so much, you know, for exercising that precaution. You know, I really appreciate you being considerate that way. And I'm so sorry you're not feeling well still. So, you know, let me know what happens with the doctor. So I go to the doctor, I made the appointment, go to the doctor on Tuesday, and I tell them I have a cough and I'm congested. And they're like, okay, well, you know, have you traveled at all? And I said, to Pennsylvania, you know, but I was at an event where there were a lot of people. However, I did get a rapid test on Thursday and it came back negative. So, you know, I have a cold or something, I guess, and it's just really bothering me and I want to get some medicine, you know? So I go in and I see the doctor. And I've been seeing this doctor since I'm like 14 years old. So he knows me really well. And, you know, he's the one that actually prescribes my anti-anxiety and depression medications because I can't afford to see psychiatrists. None of them take Medicaid because, you know, why would the U.S. mental health care system be set up for people who don't have money? You know, nothing else in this country is. So I tell him, you know, what happened. I tell him I've got this cough and I've got this congestion and, you know, I got a negative results on a rapid COVID test. And he's like, oh, well, I shouldn't even really be seeing you like with those symptoms. I'm like, excuse me? Like, I made the appointment and said I had these symptoms. And he's like, well, you're here now, you know, so I'll examine you or whatever. And he did, and he said, well, I want you to get a second COVID test, the 24-hour one. And I'm like, you're kidding, why? You know, I'm like, because he knows, like, the main reason I see him, like, every couple months is just to check in and make sure, you know, just kind of track the progress of my mental health. And, you know, obviously there's never any dramatic changes except for the worst when I'm, you know, in the pits of despair and underneath the bell jar and, you know, really struggling. It doesn't really get that high where I'm feeling super terrific, but he was like, I just, you know, the rapid tests are not that reliable. When were you at the con? I said, well, I was there from Friday till Monday. We left Monday morning. He's like, okay, well, technically, if you did have COVID and you got the test on Thursday, that might be too soon. And I'm like, really? Like, he said, I forget how many days he says it typically takes to like incubate in your system or whatever. But he's like, no, you really need to get another test and you need to get whatever the second highest level is in terms of waiting time. He's like, I'm going to, you know, call. There was a nurse that used to work in the office where I see him that is now at this clinic where they're doing, you know, COVID testing and vaccinations and stuff. He's like, it's adjacent to the hospital. I'm like, oh my God, like the hospital is a nightmare. You have to pay to park. I'm like, I don't want to go, you know, it's the hospital. He's like, no, it's just a clinic adjacent to, there's metered parking and whatever. And this, you know, former nurse that, well, current nurse, but former nurse from that office, he's like, I'm going to call her. I'm going to let her know that you're coming. I know your anxiety is probably off the charts right now and you're not very happy with me, but I really, really think you need to do this because according to him, are you ready for this? The rapid test is only 51% accurate. That's quite a variance from the 91% I was told at the clinic. I imagine the real number must be somewhere in between because I can't imagine it's as low as 51. That just seems preposterous to me. But I was just like, if this test is so unreliable, why is it offered? Like, why are people even given the option to take it? Why does it even exist if it's so useless and, you know, not accurate? And he's genuinely shrugged his shoulders and he's like, I really don't know. But I really, really feel that you need to get this further test done, Carrie. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a prescription for an antibiotic. I don't know if this is bacterial or viral or what it is. It's, you know, it seems like, you know, it's not anything serious. It's, you know, I just want you to get the test. So I'm like, fuck, okay, I guess I'm doing that. So in all fairness, he really did go above and beyond. He called this nurse and he told her I was coming. He said, when you get there, just ask for her specifically. She's going to get you in right away. You're not going to have to wait in line. And there really wasn't a line. There were just people. It was a walk-in place. But it was still nice to walk in and be able to ask for this nurse by name. And, you know, oh, we'll get her right away. You know, just wait behind this blue line. They had these, like, taped blue lines on the floors that you would be, like, 6 feet back, I guess, from the counter where, you know, the people were working on their computers and stuff, even though you had to wear a mask. I don't know, whatever. So I waited, and she came out, and she was just like, oh, hi, Carrie. I don't know if you remember me from the doctor's office. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. And I mostly remembered her name, but her face was vaguely familiar. And she said, we're going to get you taken care of right away. We're going to get you the rapid test. Normally, the results take 24 hours, up to 24 hours to come back, but I'm going to stat your results. So you should get them hopefully within 2 hours. And I was just like, wow, that's fantastic. Thank you. You know, I was really super grateful for that. So I did. I went in and I got that test. And I, again, asked the woman who gave me that test, I said, why do medical professionals offer the rapid test if the results are so unreliable? And she basically did the same thing. She shrugged her shoulders and she said, I really don't know. So word to the wise, I just want to put this out there to anyone who has not yet had a COVID test, in the event that you have to. And if you're given a choice, do not get the rapid test unless there's some exigent circumstance that, you know, you need to know, like to get on a plane, I guess, or something in a couple hours. I mean, maybe that's why. I genuinely don't know, but I don't really feel safe now about the thought of plane travel. If people are getting these rapid COVID tests with symptoms and the results are so unlikely to be accurate, but that's a whole other story. I'm not flying anywhere anytime soon. But yeah, word to the wise, if you're given the option, or even if you're not, I would ask for the, you know, the results, the test that gives you results within 24 hours. So I literally got that done. I was in and out in 10 minutes, which was great. Like, my husband didn't even have to feed the meter. He just sat in the car and waited for me. There was someone behind him, like, glaring, like, you know, you're taking up a spot or whatever, but fuck them. So anyway, so we headed home, and I thought, okay, it was around 3, so now I gotta wait till 5 o'clock to get these results. So I, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I really want to reschedule with my friend. You know, I was so looking forward to spending time with her. So I got home, and I want to say within the hour, I believe it was just a little bit before or maybe a little bit after 4 that I got the results that, again, the COVID test was negative, as well as the flu. There were, I guess there's 2 variants of the flu, and they test for that as well. And it was, those were both negative as well. So I said, woohoo, you know, I was a happy camper then. I had my cough meds, which came in like the weirdest form. They describe them on the bottle as capsules, but they're not capsules. Like, back in the day, I don't know if I've shared this on the channel before. I probably have, though, because I share all my shit. I actually had a nose job when I was 15 years old, and I was told to use vitamin E, and it came in like this little, it was like a gel inside this like plastic yellow kind of translucent ball. And basically, in the event of using the vitamin E, you poked it with like a little needle, and you, like, I rubbed it like right here and right underneath my nose where there would potentially be scarring. And that's what these things looked like, but they were way teeny tiny. And I just assumed that it would be cough syrup. So anyway, that was bizarre. And FYI, it says like on the warning label for these little, I guess I'll call them capsules, because that's what they call them. Do not ingest, do not burst these, do not bite them, do not chew them. It could be highly toxic. And I'm like, oh, good. That sounds like a really nice, safe thing to be putting into my body. But whatever, you know, whatever. What is? I mean, aspirin has side effects. Everything has potential side effects. I just wanted to feel fucking better and stop coughing. So I took my meds and I took my antibiotic. And like I said, I've been doing that now for 4 days. And my voice is still raspy. And I still have just a little bit of like congestion like in my throat. But it wasn't, you know, bronchitis or, you know, anything serious like that. It's basically, it's a bad cold in a nutshell. That's what I'm calling it, because he couldn't put any other type of name on it. So, But I was very specific and careful and said, okay, so when will I like not be contagious to people? Because again, I'm still thinking I want to see my friend, you know, and I want to make sure that I'm 100% going to be safe and not, you know, have any chance of giving her whatever this, you know, wretched cold or whatever is. And he said, well, okay, I would say if you count from Monday, which is the last date you would have been infected, because that was when you were exposed to this large group of people, you know, from that point on you were home, so you wouldn't have gotten it anywhere, you know, after that. Count ahead to, I believe you said 8 days? 7 or 8 days. But basically he said by Wednesday, you're good to go. By like next, you know, in 2 days, by Wednesday, you'll be good to go. And that's if I had gotten it on Monday, which I absolutely am certain I did not, because we checked out of the hotel and hit the road and came home that morning. So I'm quite certain I got it on Sunday, or more than likely Saturday, because that was when I was around a bunch of people. We had a meal together. There was about a dozen of us sitting at a table and talking unmasked and, you know, thinking, you know, everybody's safe and we're all vaccinated and whatever, you know. So that's probably when I caught it, because obviously there's no cure or prevention for the common cold. So he said, so that, you know, worst case scenario, you got it Friday. I mean, excuse me, worst case scenario, you got it Monday. So by Wednesday, you'll be good, you know, especially you'll be on the antibiotic by then for, you know, you start it tonight, Monday night, and then you'll have Tuesday. So you'll have 3 doses of it in you. Technically 4, you know, if I was going to see my friends on Wednesday, which as it so happened, I did. She was in a jam and she needed help with something, and I was more than happy to oblige, because that's what friends do. And I was super stoked, because it meant not only did I get to be useful and helpful, but I, you know, I got to have fun with my friends. So today's Thursday, and I got home from her place this morning after Hurricane Ida like wreaked havoc on New York City. It was so freaking crazy. Like last night we were getting, like, she has an Apple phone and I have an Android, so like she would get the text, you know, the alert, the text alert with that crazy noise, and then like 5 minutes later I would get it, and vice versa, you know, like on and off throughout the night, you know, hurricane warning, hurricane watch, flash flood watch. We even got one for a fucking tornado watch in New York City. Like, what the hell? But there's no global warming, you know, no climate change. That's just all fantasy, whatever. But yeah, so it was a crazy night, but we had a lot of fun, and other than this rasp and, you know, a bit of coughing, you know, I was fine, and she knew that going into it. And I told her what my doctor said, you know, he's like, you're going to be totally fine on Wednesday, you know, you're not going to be a carrier or able to like spread this or anything. So I felt, you know, good about going. And we had a really great time, and I got home this afternoon around noonish, and I've been just, you know, hanging around the house since then mostly. But I just wanted to fill you guys in on what's been going on, why I've been absent from YouTube, and why, you know, just give you the 411 about COVID testing, because this was certainly not something I had ever heard before. Like, I mean, common sense. If someone says to you, do you want to get your results back in like a half hour, or do you want to get them in up to 24 hours? What moron would say, oh, I'd like to wait 24 hours. That would be better for me. I don't want to know right away. So I asked 2 medical professionals. They have no explanation as to why the rapid test is even offered to people. But I highly recommend, not a medical clinician of any kind, just a layperson, do not get the fucking rapid test. It's a waste of your time, and you're probably going to end up needing I wish I could remember the initials, but you're going to end up needing that one ultimately anyway. So skip the rapid test and just go straight for, you know, the second level up one. And then there's like another one, I guess, that's even more comprehensive, but the results take several days. I feel like the middle of the road test is probably a safe bet, especially if, you know, my GP told me to get that. And he's, like I said, he's known me since I was like 14, and I'm 48 now. So, you know, I don't think he would steer me wrong. But yeah, I just wanted to catch up with you guys, let you know what was going on, why I haven't been around. I'm feeling so much better. Like I said, it's just this rasp and a little bit of congestion left, but I'm still taking my meds. I still have my cough meds and my antibiotics and my little cough drops, but I'm feeling really good. I highly recommend organic throat coat tea, My friend Jane highly recommended that to me, and it's really affordable, and it definitely helps if you have a sore throat or a cough. That's just the brand. I think it's just Organic Throat Coat Tea. Look for that. They sell it in Walmart, Target, you know, all different places. You don't have to go to like a specialty store to buy it. And in fact, when we went, my husband and I went right out that day to buy it, and we found one box, and it was like a combo pack of 4 different like type of homeopathic remedies. Like one was like cold care, and one was like with echinacea to like boost your immunity, and there were only 4 of the throat coats in there, but I was grateful to have them. My husband subsequently ordered 3 16 packs from Amazon because it's not my favorite tea. It has black licorice in it. I can't stand black licorice. It's not the tastiest thing in the world, but it's definitely really effective in helping with the sore throat and coughing symptoms. So I do recommend you use it. I've been using it since with a little bit of honey in it, and that helps a bit. But it's funny because my friend Jane's like, I don't taste that at all. There's another, what is it? Slippery elm. She's like, the slippery elm hides the taste for me. And I'm like, what the fuck is slippery elm? I wouldn't even know what that tastes like. But that's my Jane. She knows all this stuff. She's really wise and educated on, you know, this type of, you know, way of treating, you know, illnesses and stuff. So, yeah, it's getting really dark, and you probably can't even see me that well anymore, which might be a good thing. But I'm going to wrap up. Just wanted you to know I'm doing okay. Everything's cool. Hopefully in another day or 2, I will be 100% over this cough and over this congestion. And I feel terrible because now my husband and my mom have it. But of course, they live in this house with me, and, you know, they were exposed to me from the time I got it. So, you know, unfortunately, that was during the period where I was still able to spread it. But I wasn't out at all. Well, no, maybe twice to like do Walmart runs for, you know, supplies, but I wore my mask, of course, you know, to be, you know, to protect other people, because that's what responsible folks do. They wear their masks and they get their vaxes, and, you know, I have no tolerance for people who don't do those things. Sorry, not sorry. I think that anybody that doesn't, it's really reprehensible that you have that little concern for your fellow human beings to not take every precaution. I mean, if you're that fucking anti-vax and that fucking anti-mask, then stay the fuck home and don't be around me. Because if I wear a mask, I'm doing it to protect you. And if you don't have the courtesy to get yourself vaccinated or to wear a mask, then stay the fuck away from me. Have the common courtesy to just stay the fuck home. That is my thought on that. And no ifs, ands, or buts. That may bother some people. Sorry, not sorry again. But okay, before we're sitting here in like pitch black darkness, I am going to wrap up. But I just wanted you, again, to know what was happening. Please enjoy my lovely towel. But yeah, I just didn't want you to worry. If anybody was, I'm totally fine. I will be over this within a couple days, I hope. And, you know, so will my husband and my mom. They are not to the point where I was yet. My husband, I think it's hitting my husband a little bit faster than it hit me. But he's sharing my antibiotics and, you know, taking cough meds and whatever and cold pills. So I'm hoping that they'll both be feeling well really soon too. But I just didn't want you guys to be concerned. So anyway, that's where we're at, guys. I love you so much. Thanks for watching, and I will be back soon with more stuff. Bye.